Wanted to record a long video at first, then a short one. Realized that neither short nor long is working out. Something in the middle will come out. The story will be about how I repaired the car. Frankly speaking, if it was some old car like that, I would probably get in there and fix it myself. But it's like this, and the car is new, and I'm too lazy to tinker. Well, fine, I'll go to the specialist. The car is complex, a lot of electronics, you need to know it. Asked my brother for recommendations, went to some specialists. They called this double convex feeling about their specialization and how much they are specialists. Then he went another way. In the end, I went to repair the car but needed to replace it. The timing chain with phase regulators, tensioner, repentant and other stuff, since we're going in there. Well, here you go, went on Novomoskovskaya Street, house 1 Zaj. I was chatting with my friend Salam there. Apparently they have been dealing with this Mercedes for 20 years. They know everything, they can do everything. Came to cars like Maybach and Mercedes are parked there and so on. My car turned out to be the poorest there. It was even embarrassing. As if I arrived on a ladder. I wanted to turn around, leave and say sorry, wrong stop. I think, okay, well, they fix such machines here, they'll figure it out. They've been doing it for 20 years, experience, knowledge. Changed the chain, everything's fine. I'm leaving. Can't say it's cheap in terms of money, quite expensive, almost the same price as the dealer. There, a small discount, so to speak. I think, well, the main thing is that it was done well. Original spare parts, all stuff, and somehow the car just doesn't go. Something's not right. They changed the chain, but it shouldn't be worse. It can be better, but again, there's nowhere better, because the problem was not in the chain after all. And in the phase regulator, it crumbled, it had to be changed. We changed it, got into it. The chain naturally needs to be changed. You can't just change one phase controller and leave everything else. It will still fall apart after a short mileage, mostly due to different wear and tear. We changed the heat exchanger and oil caps at the same time. So, in a couple of days, I go back to him, say, Salam, here's the story. Well, the car doesn't move. You're stepping on it on the road. But on the first gear, the engine revs up to 500. But then it doesn't move. That is, it doesn't rev up enough to switch to the second gear. That's so inadequate. I drove for 2 days, every day. Arrived in the morning, removed the first, then the second, then the first. It started with the removal of the fuel pump in the tank, which is submersible. We changed it, put in another one, same thing, put mine back. Cleaned the filter mesh there. By the way, these cars don't have fuel. Some kind of mesh, like a tea bag at the bottom, which gets clogged with sand from our dirty fuel, and the car doesn't go anywhere. Well, okay, there is some benefit from this. Let's remove the high-pressure fuel pump. The car is petrol, but there is direct injection and a high-pressure fuel pump is installed here. The computer weighs 3 masters. The diagnosis is with computers, these 2 computers. So everyone looked, scratched their heads, wondering what this error might be, what could it be. Pressure jumps, the car stalls, that is just a nightmare. Took off the injection pump, put on another one, boom, same situation. But it's not about the injection pump. And it's already night, already 11 o'clock in the evening, the second day. I say, show me guys where the fuel ramp pressure sensor is. They show there, God knows where. I'm saying, can you just take off the terminal from it and see how the car behaves with the terminal removed? Let's take it off. We took it off. It's acting up. Went into error that the sensor is not available at all. Not that the pressure jumps in the ramp. And the sensor is not accessible, thank God, which means the sensor is showing something. Put it back, FOB, and everything also worked. So I'm like, oops, probably a sensor issue. Got stuck, oxidized, some other story. I come back again and say we remove the sensor and put another one. Original, let's see what comes out of it. They were about to condemn me the high pressure fuel pump. High pressure fuel pump, insanely expensive story. Like, it's faulty. I say, let's change the sensor first. Did we change the sensor? Everything is in place as it was, so it remained, the problem persisted. Oh shoot, how's that possible? I realized that a decent amount of money has already been spent. A bunch of parts have been replaced, but no result. I found work for the craftsmen, I paid them, there's no result. That's it, enough is enough, we're changing craftsmen. Watched a lot of Ildar auto selection channel on the internet. Ildar, thanks for running a channel like this, because it's for people like me who can figure everything out on their own but are lazy. Never, I don't want to meddle in someone else's business. I want to find a specialist who can do the job. In this damn country, it's customary for everyone to do what they can. He doesn't know why this is happening, I don't understand. In my profession as an IT guy, I see the same thing. 90% of IT people are not specialists in their field at all. They're going there because they want specialists, but they're not specialists. The same thing here with cars. Fortunately, Eldar is a good specialist himself and recruits guys very competently. And I'll end on a positive note. I'm passing by the next day, or I booked a day later. Went to the service station located between Ryazanka and Volgogradka. Of course, the place is cool. Getting there from one-way traffic is another story. Probably the cheapest place to rent, but well, I've arrived. So the technician, a diagnostician, forgot his name. Your name is Vyacheslav. Thank you very much for such a prompt, competent job. He looked, he says, well, what? Looking at everything here is pointless. There can only be two reasons. It says, first, your throttle is malfunctioning, the wire is faulty and something else, or your intake manifold is sucking in air. He says, let's have a smoke. A smoke bomb is made in the manifold and looked out of it. Does it smoke out or not? We inserted it. There's no smoke coming from anywhere. Everything is fine. Okay. Shall we remove the throttle body? Of course we do. We need to do it. We remove the throttle valve, disassemble it, inspect the drive, mention something about there being shavings, say, let me clean it with some beer. We slightly lubricated the plastic gears under the chips on the throttle position sensor with a little bit of silicone and put it back together. But the car ran well when hot, we couldn't check it out right away. And then I left. The next day I got up early on purpose, didn't oversleep. At 6 in the morning I ran to the car while it was still icy, because the problem occurred right after the night frost. Or in principle when it has cooled down. Everything's perfect. It was +1 last night. The next day it was supposed to be -3. Waited for the next day. At 6 in the morning I get up in the car, start it, everything is perfect. Well, I immediately called the guys. No, I didn't call, I drove there hoping to sort out the headlight as well, because there's no point having a servo for the headlight in the brain. Came to them without an appointment, that's it. They say, well, without an appointment, it's a Saturday, so it's a Saturday, let's see what we can do, what we can't. They look through the catalog, say, listen, you have, sorry to break it to you, but you can't fix the headlight servo. Your headlight unit and servo are inseparable. You can only replace the bulbs and some other thing. Oops. Salam told me, and that he will get me a servo drive for my van tomorrow. So he didn't have a clue what he was talking about. Hi there. If you're watching, please, here's a tip for you. If you don't know something, don't pretend you do. It's worse for you in the end. I found out anyway, and it works. You lied to me. Hello there, why did you deceive me? Were you trying to make some cash? Well, you've earned a little, but now I'm filming this video, uploading it to YouTube, so everyone knows not to go to your service. Just don't need it. There's a service. The guys who are doing everything perfectly spent minimum time. My own for a pittance. Comparatively to you, it's 10 times what's in 10. It turned out 15 times cheaper. At 15, and in 40 minutes I left with a working car, not 2 days and a lot of money. Do you understand what's the matter? In the end, they looked and said that it can't be done. I then searched the internet, looked at the headlight. For now, this question is put aside. Here's what I wanted to end with. Positivity. Guys, there's an amazing service who was organized by Eldar, whose channel is called Eldar Auto Selection. The service is called the Up Service. I understand Up Service is from the English up, upwards. Because he has another category like that at Eldars. It's called Resurrection of the Dead. I have already even written a letter to Eldar, with a request to revive my dead one, which every morning I have sex. I wound it up, muted it, dropped errors, wound it up again, muted it, dropped errors. And he was doing this every morning. Now everything is perfect with me. And all of this for a small amount of money, in a short span of time. And in the end, it's profitable for the guys in app service, because they still make big money for this hour they spent on me in a short period of time. Did they make decent money? In the end, more than Salom in 2 days. And I spent my time I didn't earn during this time on my clients, whom I could have done some of my work. I was standing there like a fool watching. I've got some twists in my car for disassembly of it. And then there's a service in Moscow. You can come with almost any car, old or new. These guys are very young, they lack experience, unlike the guys who worked for me before. 45 was the youngest, the rest were around 60. All masters, seemingly wise, with experience. Well, what an interesting modern world, inexperienced. And the skill is using Google, just like the admins. Great experience, I have a lot of experience. But if I couldn't use Google, my experience wouldn't be worth a damn. I somehow didn't know everything is done new every day. You go to Google, this and that doesn't work. And there's such a long list of solutions you can apply. One of them will fit 99.9% of the time, right? In my profession, a call to Microsoft support, give money to Microsoft and the problem is solved. It's the same with cars. Can't do it yourself right away? Go to Google, read up. Can't do it? Call a dealer. Or somewhere else, someone who does this more professionally than you. Spend more money on it. But in the end, you will do it for the client. The client will praise you. Guys, app service, big thanks to the whole team, guys. I'm literally looking at you and I'm pleased. Thank God our country is changing a bit. Here go the 90s and come the young, right-minded guys who think correctly. I try to think this way myself, even though I'm from an older generation, you could say from the 90s. But I'm lucky I've been looking a little bit ahead all my life. And the way you work, I've been working the same way all my life and try not to rust my brains and will to compete in my field with people like you. Thanks, guys.